Hi, my name is James Heath-Ringrose, and this is my final presentation for organizational behavior. We're going to be discussing virtual organizations and teams. As a general overview, virtual organization is a small core organization that outsources its major business functions, and a virtual team are teams that use computer technology to tie together physical dispersed members to achieve a common goal. An example today of a virtual organization would be large movie companies like 20th Century Fox or Warner Brothers, who employ thousands of directors, camera people, actors, things like that. And it takes many people from a collection of teams to complete the film. Organizational design in virtual organizations. First, we're going to talk about departmentalization, which is the basis by which jobs are grouped. They're generally grouped by function. For example, in a hospital, there are surgery units as well as ICU, research, things like that. However, in virtual organizations, there's little to none as far as departmentalization. There is, however, high centralization, which is the degree to which decision-making is centralized at a single point. We know that they're highly centralized because the core executives generally make most of the decisions for the company. It's important to remember, though, that not everyone likes high centralization, and in this case, some roles can be unclear, creating an autonomous environment which can be ambiguous to some employees. Organizational culture in virtual organizations and teams. Organizational culture is a descriptive term which describes how individuals view or perceive a culture, not how they like it. So it's in contrast to job satisfaction. Organizational culture is a system of shared meaning held by members, which distinguishes it from other organizations. In order to create a positive culture, managers are encouraged to establish trust among their members, monitor team progress, and communicate frequently and consistently. Characteristics of organizational culture include innovation and risk-taking, attention to detail, outcome, people, and team orientation, aggressiveness, and stability. Some challenges in virtual organizational culture include there's a less social rapport and less direct interaction, which can lead to isolation in a company. Motivation in virtual organizations and teams. There are three main components to motivation, which are intensity, which is the amount of effort put forth, direction, which is that effort being put forth toward a goal, and persistence, which is how long the effort is maintained. Job engagement. In terms of job engagement, engagement is the investment of physical, cognitive, and emotional energies, and it's important that managers implement clear communication and consistency in order to increase job engagement. As a result of high job engagement, we see lower turnover, high productivity, and less safety incidents in a corporation or organization. Group behavior in virtual organizations or teams. There are pros and cons. One pro being that there's better sharing of unique information and diverse information, and a con being that overall less information is shared between the groups. Groups are individualized. However, groupthink can still be problematic, which is groupthink is the pressure to conform to the majority opinion. This happens when people who have an opinion in the minority, they stay silent and they let their views be overlooked. And if groupthink is a problem, it can decrease the accuracy of decisions and communication in an organization. Communication in virtual organizations. The communication model, as you can see right here, is when a sender encodes a thought and uses a transmission device to deliver it. The receiver decodes the message and then gives feedback. Low levels of virtual communication in teams actually result in higher levels of information sharing, whereas higher levels of virtual communication hinder it. Barriers to communication in a virtual organization include filtering, emotions, language, lying, and silence. Power. So there are two bases of power, both formal and personal. Personal is based on an organizational position, whereas personal comes from unique characteristics or expertise in a certain area or certain area. Executive or the core company is in charge as far as power, which gives orders to various branches. Managers should communicate these orders and directions fluently and effectively and accurately. We also see that it is a collectivistic viewpoint as far as virtual organizations, where they see power in social terms with an emphasis on group advancement, although many virtual teams are geographically dispersed. Politics in virtual organizations and teams. We define political skill as a person's ability to influence others to enhance their own objectives. And we define political behavior as activities that aren't required in a role, but that attempt to influence or do influence the distribution of advantages and disadvantages in an organization. Main causes of political behavior in an organization are reorganization, being constant in virtual organizations, and that roles, goals, and responsibilities are often clear in these virtual organizations. If political behavior does arise, it can have influences on employees, such as decrease in satisfaction and performance, and a higher turnover rate, as well as higher anxiety and stress. Finally, stress management in an organization. There are two types of stress, challenge and hindrance. Challenge stress is associated with workload and pressures to complete tasks in a timely manner and can be viewed as positive. Hindrance comes from obstacles to achieving goals and is generally negative. There are consequences, including physiological signs such as higher blood pressure and headaches, psychological, which comes in the form of anxiety or tension, and behavioral, which is changes in eating habits, increased smoking or drinking. And in terms of managing stress in a virtual organization, on an organizational scale, managers are encouraged to have job training, job redesign, as well as wellness programs. And on an individual level, employees can work on their time management skills, increase their physical activity, reach out for social support, and even attempt meditation. Thank you for listening to my presentation. I hope you learned something, and that's all.